worked on it. And honestly, you still cannot give him that champion. But for RA, you've got a choice now. Do you leave up with the Taliyah or the Wukong? And they're going to go with the Wukong.
Yeah, so now JDG going to have pick of the litter with what they want. Curious to see where they go, because we do still have things like the Kalista open, Aphelios, of course, there as well. And when you have both of those picks open, I wonder what pairs well with both of those picks and gives you options.
That's a tough question. It's a tough question for JDG. We'll see. You know what? We'll come back to it. We'll go see what Rare Adam does end up blocking in here. They're going to look towards the Kalista as well. Again, we have seen the Kalista do exceptionally well into the Renata. It's specifically in that last game. If you are able to get some priority bot side, I will say, though, being totally honest, iBoy has been inconsistent, to put it lightly. The man has been looking like he can pop off, and other times completely throwing a game because he decides not to flash. I don't know how good this pick is going to be, because I don't know how good iBoy is going to be today.
That's a good point. Now, for RA, I mean, you do have both kind of other junglers who typically go towards up, Oisin and Viego, so that spells to me maybe why RA just opt into going towards the Ahri here. Ahri has been Yagao's most played champion by a mile. 10 games on the pick. His second most played is at 3 on the LeBlanc, and he's an 80% win rate on it. So good takeaway coming out from RA. Save that jungle pick for a little later on. We already know with the Kalista taken away, this will be the Aphelios pickup going over to the side of JDG. And now, neither team looking to show jungle early on. They are just going to go with the Taliyah, which this will be Yagao's first Taliyah of the split.
Yeah, and the Amumu locked in here for Rare Adam as well for Yuyanjia. But, as he said, first Taliyah for Yagao. But Taliyah has been slowly creeping up in that priority. We saw it banned last series, now being picked an awful lot more. And honestly, it feels like since Rookie came back, it kind of coincided with the patch kind of saying Taliyah exceptionally strong at just kind of creating pressure on the map and also isolating picks.
And also a champion that just ever since the changes, I mean, feels like her late game damage also just incredibly strong if you are able to land that boulder. But we were hitting on for RA that one of the things we've seen a lot this split is just a lot of scaling coming through and then playing slower in the early game and not really setting up Leyan exactly to play the way that he likes to play. And this is a completely flipped script coming from them with, I mean, aggressive mid laner who's going to look to push and move, look to roam once you hit that level 6 mark, an incredibly aggressive bot lane. We can see now RA, they saw that Bel'Veth game. They do not want to deal with this champion, so they're just going to take this one off the board right away. And JDG, with 369 being so strong this split, going to look to give him a bit of a comfortable matchup in top lane and take away some of the more niche picks that Cube likes to bring out.
Yeah, I think the Jax pick against Cube was very nice. We saw it actually in maybe the 2 series ago, perhaps, for RA, where Cube was just blinding it every single time. He didn't care. He was just like, I'm going to pick this and I do not give a damn what you pick into it. So very confident and very comfortable on the Jax, so taken away here by JDG. And now Rare Adam, they focus towards that jungle. Kanavi versus Leyan. We talked about how Leyan was such a big key component. Kanavi has been popping off for JDG, having such incredibly high KDAs as well. So especially early on, K plus A at 15 is absolutely absurd. So having all these early skirmishing junglers now taken off the board, we're going to start to see a little bit of a slightly different priority now put on for both teams. But I was going to say the Volibear is still available. The Xin Zhao feels like it might be showing your hand a little bit too early.
Yeah, for RA, I definitely would expect something like the Xin Zhao to come out, or something that has the ability to go in, right? You hit on the Volibear, even Nocturne theoretically still being open as well, and having an easier time of finding your way into the backline. With all these dashes, though, I actually wouldn't mind this coming out from Kanavi. A lot of champions that you are able to stop. So Kanavi, who's typically one of the big like engages or setups or playmakers, let's say, for JDG, gonna take more of a peel role and setting up for Hope, setting up for Yagao to do well. And 369 having to blind his champion top is just gonna go with this Gnar pick. I'm curious to see what Cube does go for here. Just locks in the Gwen outright. Gwen being a champion I feel like we've been seeing a lot less of as the split has progressed. But for RA, I mean, I feel like solid. You have a lot of engage to come through. You have a lot of single target CC and even AoE CC, right, coming out with that Amumu to try and find the fights that you want. For JDG, though, semi-global ultimate in the mid lane. You can try and look to enable Hope and Missing. And then especially in the mid game, I feel like is where JDG going to look for these strong 5v5s. You have a lot of zone control, especially coming out with things like the Unraveled Earth with the ultimate to be able to come out for Missing. And then Kanavi just being able to deny so many of these dashes from the side of Rare Adam.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And we can see now as well, JDG, they've got themselves very, very solid comfort. Gwen, I quite like the Gnar Poppy Taliyah combination. We saw V5 actually run that same top side against EDG yesterday, and just having the access of the wall, just kind of constantly kind of saying, no, you can't dash away because we've got the Unraveled Earth. You can't go ahead in this way because we've already cut it off with the Steadfast Presence on the Poppy. There's so many different variables you have to come into, and if you can just time your Mega Gnars correctly, you don't really give a lot of options for your team, the opposition team, to react to you. So I really do love this combination. It does feel like an incredibly safe combination that comes out for teams in the LPL quite a lot.
Yeah, feels safe, but also feels like can be aggressive and proactive if you could bring it together, right? We said on the last hit this week that Taliyah ult feels like the new Corgi package, where it has been very hit or miss. I feel like we've had people like Rookie and Cryan who have made the Taliyah work very well, and then we've had others not really able to adapt. So Yagao's walls going to be crucial in JDG finding the picks and finding the team fights that they want.
It's okay. It's a safe space, Lyric. You can have a little bit of flame on people as long as you're not being too derogatory. But RA...
Hey, a lot of people have failed with that Taliyah ultimate.
They have,
you know.
they have. Doomby just comes to my mind as one of the more recent ones. But RA now looking for hope. They get the cleanse out of them. Will they be able to get another bandage toss? Yes, they will. Ignite goes down, missing. Was in fact missing. And they will get both summoners out of hope. It won't mean the world of the end of the world for JDG, but definitely pressure now for RA. Exactly what they needed on that bot side.
I mean, you even think about it, I feel like this is going to be huge, considering now Hope is going to have to play so safe. And when you look at the compositions, right, we kind of hit on the strong skirmishing power coming out from the mid-jungle 2v2. Leyan could just pretty much put a tent around the spot lane, and what's Hope going to do? He has to safely sit under his turret, so this could be a strong pain point that RA can look to use to snowball out of control.
Now JDG have to try and maybe readjust their early game plans based on what they have just experienced. Cube also going to see if there's a bit of a start on top side. He recognized the Kanavi is there, so they have full knowledge of exactly where this Poppy is going to be going. iBoy moving forward.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're just taking away vision. They're just stopping them from coming in. Like you said, it's just very difficult here for the side of JDG to really go aggressive or even kind of get comfortable in this lane.
Yeah, pushing would be so hard to do. I feel like that's why we're seeing Kanavi match top into bot side, knowing, like, he knows what's going to happen coming out in this bottom lane. He knows the heavy trade is going to come through as Yuyanjia just able to land both of those bandage tosses, missing already taken quite low. And we've hit on this a lot, that JDG are typically a team that loves to go to 3 games. It feels like every series they bring it to 3. They have one where they just do atrociously bad, and then 2 games that usually they do snowball quite well, so they might be getting that one loss out of the way pretty early on.
Yeah, they might be getting that one done. It is always usually the first game where they kind of take a while to download their opponent, Matrix style, and get all that information onto them. But for the moment, it is just going to be a little bit of pressure on bot side. It is still an Aphelios and a Renata. Will say that, yes, the Aphelios, you would love to get up to 3 items as quick as possible, but still going to be relevant as the game goes on. That ward will just spot out Leyan, who wants to try and be as aggressive as he possibly can, into Kanavi, who is on the Poppy. So, yeah, I think he's going to have to give up this red buff unless he can burst it down before it resets, and he cannot.
No, and Leyan knows he's a follow-up from his bot lane, so that's why he feels confident just walking so aggressively into the enemy jungle. JDG, I mean, you might just have to give it up, but still waiting around trying to clear out this vision. Maybe to try and find something cheesy if their bot lane did just try to hard force into Tri-Brush, but JDG aren't going to do that. They are going to respect the potential for, you know, some kind of engager pick to come out from JDG. They're going to take the red buff. They're going to back off. And now Leyan, I mean, he could actually just even opt into taking both scuttles if he wanted. So, RA so far getting everything on the map.
They are getting themselves fairly well set up. And honestly, this is exactly what you want to see from a lower of the table team. You know, you're going up against someone who's 7-1, second slash, you know, joint second in the table in terms of win-loss ratio. And for JDG, this is a matchup they should be expected to win quite handily. So for RA, I love the idea that they're coming in, being aggressive, putting themselves in the face of JDG and saying, hey, we're not just going to roll over and die, because they recognize if we play standard, we're just going to lose anyway.
Especially when you look at both junglers, right? Kanavi versus Leyan feels like such a stacked matchup coming in. And if Leyan can show up, have this great performance, I think both these junglers early on in spring were like top 3 junglers in the LPL. both very stylistically similar, and both might run into each other right now.
I was going to say might or absolutely will. They do know that the puppy is there. They're going to fully engage there onto Missing. They will try and get Yuyanjia to flash away as he goes down. First blood goes on to Kanavi. iBoy has to use his cleanse and his flash to get away from this one. Leyan now looking for Missing, and he will find his mark. Both supports end up going down as both junglers pick themselves up a kill. RA do end up fighting back just a little bit, and they end up trading 1 for 1.
Kanavi knows what RA are going to try to do. He knows that Leyan should continuously be looking to punish his bot side, especially if their bot lane's pushing up so far forward that he's going to have to be there to cover. They're going to look for the all-in. The enemy jungle is going to be around. So nice read. Does end up being a 1 for 1 in the end, but the fact that you can at least start to stem the bleeding is quite nice. We're going to see here, right? Kanavi been waiting here for quite a while. We see Yuyanjia go in. Is going to be locked down. Ignite dropped, and then Kanavi able to finish that one off. But with Leyan coming behind, Missing, feels like it's just guaranteed he's going to go down. Glad he doesn't try any kind of cheeky flash shenanigans to be able to make it away. We'll come back to lane, still have that summoner up. And speaking of summoners, Hope, whose summoners got blown at level 1, Cleanse already back on the board. Flash should be up in 14 seconds.
Yeah, and that's going to be a pretty big shift in the power of this bot lane. I will say you still haven't got the connection created here by iBoy. He's still waiting to see who he wants to put that one onto. I will say it is almost certainly got to be Amumu. Don't think there's going to be anyone else you really want to be throwing in there. A free engage with the Curse of Stab Mummy is just such a powerful tool to be able to use for your team. But for the moment, still has not used it. Yuyanjia thinking about going for a Hex Flash into the brush, but thinks the better of it.
For RA, already making their way back down towards spot right now. And I think for JDG, the expected plan is just keep covering, keep making sure that Hope and Missing don't fall too far behind. And then when we get to fights like around Dragon, like around Rift Herald, that's where JDG's comp can come on really strong with the amount of AoE that they do have between Yagao, Hope, and Missing. So JDG now going to look to go into iBoy.
Gonna look for it. The Dragon has been started, but JDG not to be dissuaded from a fight, are still thinking about maybe they want to try and contest this. And honestly, with the Ocean Drake does slow you down quite a bit, so you have to respect the damage that can come out from that objective, and you cannot take it right now as RA.
No, so RA gonna look to back off. Once again, JDG doing well to just make sure that Leyan can't force the pace of this game too fast. Top lane, of course, being left on an island. I feel like it's the type of lane where you can invest resources into it when, like, let's say your junglers are clearing their top camps, and you're like, okay, this guy's outrageously overextended, look for a gank, but typically it is just going to be looking to move down, and JDG potentially trying to set up pressure for, like, if RA look for the all-in here, you find the kill, and then, you know, theoretically that gives you the push. You can now move your bot lane up for the Herald, which will be spawning in about 30 seconds. So that's something that has to be on both teams' mind, as it looks like that ward just missing Leyan.
Yeah, JDG not quite sure where Leyan is here, though, with 369. Gonna find the Zhao, but not quite sure if he's gonna be able to make anything work from this. Doesn't have the Crescent Guard to disassociate with this, but will burn the flash. So nicely done there by Leyan, skipping around the vision, and again, proving why we highlighted this guy. I think the jungle matchup is so pivotal for both these teams, and RA trying to get something to work for them.
This is why in every pregame interview we have teams playing against RA, typically they say, like, hey, we need to shut Leyan down. We know Leyan is one of the big pieces of this team. We've already hit on his playstyle, typically being more like oriented for like getting in the enemy jungle, stealing away these camps, kind of shutting down and winning that jungle matchup. But this time around, finding the proactivity in some of these lanes early on and looking to try to find this Rift Herald with the fact that JDG did just opt into the first dragon.
Yeah, first dragon went to JDG. Good handshake from Missing on the bot side to try and put pressure onto iBoy, who's got his cleanse back up and available to him. Should just be a trade of neutrals, as you have got pressure in mid and top here for RA, so not to be outdone again. We're looking at an incredibly even early game right now from both these sides, and I think RA should be pretty happy with themselves, although with the Kalista, you would have hoped they would have gotten some early dragon priority. Wasn't to be in this particular early game, but at the end of it all, if they can still get those stacking going, they should be pretty happy with the state of the game.
And for RA, right, I mean, maybe even just looking to snowball the game with a gold lead, use this Herald, get some plates onto your bottom lane, and then, right, if you can find that advantage, start rotating around the map, taking some of these turrets, and then look for something like an early Baron play. I mean, Kalista's stacks and Ren will still be useful in that situation, so for RA, we'll be keeping an eye on what they're doing with that one. Nothing too crazy in regards to items or anything along those lines coming out so far just yet. But it feels like we really need to be paying attention to Yagao with his Weaver's Wall and what he'll be able to find. Because right now, Leyan pivoted, playing around the top side, and Strive is pushing mid. So it would be hard for Yagao to come and try and react to this play.
Yeah, but he's got a minion wave, and he's got himself a hop, a skip. He flashes in, though. Leyan trying to make it work, but he puts himself in harm's way. The needlework does not land, and that is an unfortunate force there from RA that ends up biting him in the butt.
It's one of those ones where, right, Leyan's been looking for these plays, and he's typically been finding them, but Kanavi has been reading them very well, sees the waves pushed out, knows Leyan should be looking towards his top side, finds cover, and then now with Yagao, just trying to get in this wave. Kanavi can always just go for the recent time, but engage!
Here we go, Curse of Stab Money after the flash. He does have access to the bandage tosses. He's going to use it on the missing. He does have the bailout on top of him. He will end up falling down. Actually, no, he won't. The rend was used way too early from iBoy. I feel like that should have been a kill there from RA, and again, they don't quite get the pressure where they want it.
RA just keep falling up so slightly short, getting close every time, but not really able to build up this gold lead. I mean, heck, we were hitting on the early pressure after that level 1 for RA. Like, JDG are actually the team that are up in gold, so JDG keeping it up so far, and Kanavi once again making his way towards the bot side. And this is what happens, right, when we had those mirrored paths come through, that JDG, Kanavi always able to be on the same side of the map where Leyan is. We do see some counter jungling coming out from Leyan, and Strive does have Prio, so they might have to be careful of looking for any sort of aggressive play in the bot lane with Strive able to follow up. But Leyan is just going to use this window to drop a Herald in mid. And wow, they're going to get so much of this turret down.
Yeah, almost all of it will end up going donated over to Strive. And Leyan getting some nice there. Actually have the Everfrost completed already onto their mid laner. I will say, Cube is taking an awfully bad trade right now. One more auto attack, and he's not going to go down.
31!
God damn, that was close. Anything else would have been going down, but not for Cube. But it does mean you do lose pressure in this top side. You don't have Ghost available to you. And 369, we highlighted him at the start of the day. He is still looking fantastic on this top side for JDG.
He has found a new lease of life, and again, it's looking like those high points, right? 369, it's like whole shtick and nickname of like, are you gonna roll a 3, 6, or 9? He always had those high highs, but it wasn't always consistent. This split, it really has been. We already hit on kind of like, again, him, Wayward, and Summon, I feel like have been the standout. Shanji in recent weeks as well has looked quite good, but my God, 369 feels like every game, feels like even in the games where JDG have like their one loss or where it looks kind of bad, he is usually like the member that is stepping up and having a good performance. So great to see him keeping it up here once again.
Wait to see where they're going to go for this. He has to get the plates at mid, but like you said, it's just pressure across the board. 369 able to create his own advantages now in that top lane. And yeah, despite the Rift Herald, it's still JDG with a slight gold lead, and that doesn't really bode well. 30 seconds to the next dragon spawns. We're still waiting to see what the next one is going to be. Yuyanjia thinking about maybe going over the wall, but doesn't have any vision whatsoever of who is going to be there. 369 now looking for that last plate before the turret ends up falling down, and actually might end up losing it because Cube's going to go fully aggressive onto him because he's saying, look, you can't be greedy. You got to be able to try and fight for this one here. Now Cube, after using the needlework, just using it to deny that plate from going over to the side of 369.
I gotta be real, it would have been hilarious if 369 did just get solo killed after we built him up so much, but thank God he didn't.
Would have been very poetic about how we set up players, and they just go, nah, man, I'm not about.
I feel like it happens. I feel like it happens every single time.
Yeah.
So
the caster curse is real, but at the same time, it's not real at all.
I even feel like in the LPL it goes a step further of like, it's not just the caster curse, it's just like the LPL curse. Even in whatever it was, like the last LPL funny moments where Dom was like, oh, nothing's gonna happen, then like the crazy level 1. Just in LPL, it feels like it's almost always opposites, right? So JDG though gonna look to play up towards the opposite side of the map of RA as Yagao.
And they're going to look for him here. They're going to try and burst him out. They should be able to get him down. That being said, he is very immune, and he's doing very well. Yagao can't hit it, and Cube survives. Oh, Lord. JDG, they commit everything and they get nothing.
And you look, Strive pushing in mid, their bot lane, gonna get a ton of pressure on that bot lane turret, a ton of vision control coming out. They will be able to get this, but like you said, that felt like that should have been a kill. Just, I mean, Skillshot's not landing in the moment to be able to get that one, but Strive's making his way around.
I mean, Kanavi's very low here. They got to be careful. Yagao, though, does know that he's here. He's just going to be able to keep him away, so no one committing to anything.
Keeping in. They actually might just all in on Strive.
Oh, he's waiting for someone to come back in, though. That's going to be Cube and Yuyanjia straight on top of 369. He's going to start building up that mega, but he's very isolated all by himself. It's a 3v1 and a 2v1 on the top side. 369 trying to run away now. That turret is still there. Leyan flashes in, does get knocked back, but 369 is burning, and he has to go between two towers. He didn't really have a choice. RA get themselves a kill. JDG, this is so strange. Again, 369 just burning himself down after we built him up.
That's what it was right there. We finally get it. 369 having to have the one moment sprinting it, waiting to see who comes through the portal, maybe hoping to get some damage down, which surprised me considering that, right, he's TPing on the map, therefore he has no rage built up, so you're waiting as this mini Gnar. Luckily, he's like, okay, Q-Box bomb, I'm going to ignore that. We got Kanavi over there, and, you know, Yagao able to make it over. Once multiple members start funneling through, has to burn so much to try to get away, but it's just that, try to get away, not able to do so in the end, as he will be brought down by the turret. So, okay, 369, you have one. That's it. That's what you're allowed to have.
To have 1-3, the rest have to be 9s. Fate's Call going to be burnt there, so we'll give that a 6. There's a good little bit of pressure coming out, but RA will use this pressure of themselves to kind of put themselves into 3 turrets to 1 now. They're opening up the map very nicely, but RA need to be very aware. Leyan burnt his flash last time around. Crescent Guard going to be up very soon, but not soon enough. Kanavi is quick to step up. 3-0 for the Poppy. Yagao is here as Strife flashes away, has no mana, and had already used the ultimate.
And it's crazy to look at the state of the game right now, right? Because we had JDG were actually leading. JDG were up in gold. I feel like JDG were always answering the plays that RA were making. And it feels like off of that play topside, where they invested so much resources and tempo to get that turret, I mean, they'd given up mid, they'd given up bot, and then off of the picks JDG just gave in topside, you know, moments before, it's like 369, it opened up another turret for RA. So really just 2 small moments of JDG getting punished by RA and bringing RA up to about a 2K gold lead.
It's just going to be more and more pressure here for RA. I will say they aren't the cleanest teams, but they are hitting some nice spikes. Got the Immortal Shield Bow now for iBoy. You've picked up, obviously, the Everfrost earlier. Actually, nearly had a Shadow Flame here for Strife, so he's very far accelerated. And, of course, Leyan, with that Gore Drink, are going to be able to survive a lot more in these fights. As I say that, Leyan, let's see that Yagao jumped in here. And actually, Yagao takes away the blue buff and going to be able to take this fight as well. Yuyanjia over the wall. Strife is here. Does land the charm as a TP going to be committed as well. That's going to be the Gwen joining in as Yagao keeps pushing forward. Yuyanjia over the wall. Does get the curse. The stab money is there. Goes the hostile takeover. It's an all-out brawl now over a blue buff. 17.5 minutes into the game. We're seeing everything being burned. iBoy flashes after the cleanse, but he cannot escape. JDG brute force their way into the side of RA. And now Yuyanjia, he's going to be even sadder than Amumu normally is because he's nowhere to go and he's no friends.
He's gone, Ashin. He's going down. But I gotta say, someone please give me whatever JDG has, because they're just funneling into the jungle one by one. Yagao just walking forward. He doesn't care. Steals away the blue buff. And then slowly, one by one, they come in. They still win out the fight. JDG's level of confidence is off the charts.
I mean, that was literally just Yagao going in saying, I want this blue buff, because he didn't even know it was being taken, and then it just became an all-out brawl.
It was the like, you made this, I made this game. But like I said, they funnel in one by one. It's not even they all walk into jungle together, but Yuyanjia looking to come over the wall, gets caught out. He instantly has to get out from the fight. And then here we see a really nice stun coming out to lock down iBoy. Kanavi able to follow forward with 369 to finish off that kill. And then, like you said, Yuyanjia with nowhere to go, being more emo than Amumu usually is, breaks your heart.
It does break your heart, and that's going to be Dragon now to the side of JDG that puts him on the 2 in this game, and they've brought the gold lead right back up, and this is the problem now. Yuyanjia, you've no flash. He's going to have the Fate's Call, you would imagine, to try and save him out of here. I was wondering how that interaction would work. It doesn't count as a dash or anything like that because you're not in control of it. Now, though, RA trying to just equal this one back, take prio in this top side. They won't be able to take the tower just yet, but it's a hair's breadth away from being knocked down.
I still at least, one thing I really appreciate about a team like RA, right, is that when they start falling behind, or I guess they're not even behind in terms of gold, but let's say like losing fights, losing some map pressure, they don't fold. They look for the cross maps. We get to see a replay on the side here of 369 looking for the all-in and just ult trade for ult trade. But yeah, RA don't fold, right? They die, they instantly respawn, they go for the cross map, they steal away some camps in the enemy jungle, they get some vision down, and like it feels like the game's still at a pretty neutral point. The longer we go, though, it does feel like JDG not only going to have you know, an extremely solid front line with the Poppy being able to shut down so much of this engage on RA, but also more damage. I mean, Aphelios over Kalista, to the Taliyah also going to be hitting a lot harder than Ahri in the late game. So JDG at a pretty good pace is 369. Your Mega's about to time out, buddy.
Yuyanjia, oh, thank God he had Hex Flash. Otherwise, he was 100% dead. He does end up getting himself out over the wall. And yeah, like you said, RA, they don't just fold. They jiggle a little bit to make sure you know they're there. And they make sure that this game stays competitive. It is still very much JDG in control, though. Again, the scaling like you talked about, the Aphelios, the Taliyah, these things will just become hit a little bit harder at a little bit safer of a distance than things like the Kalista, and that's a perfect example of it there. That's Leyan getting chunked out about a third of his HP from one combo.
You guys done a pretty good job at like hitting these like seismic shove into unraveled earth combos to lock people down and be able to guarantee some good damage hit. It feels like this is the point where RA want to be able to find a fight, though, because you look at items, Gale Force built up on Hope, but iBoy sitting on his 2-item mark right now, so you should have a bit more power there. Even Leyan already having his Randuin's Omen built up, so with Baron, RA trying to be incredibly aggressive around this Baron pit and making their way into JDG's jungle, knowing they feel confident in taking a fight.
Have to feel confident now, because if they're not now, they won't be later. And Leyan, why would you walk backwards, my dude? Does have to pop the Crescent Guard. Will be able to kind of walk this one out as Hope, though. Says he wants a little bit more, and that forces the flash out of Leyan, so he's not going to have that available to him at this dragon fight in 2 minutes.
Machine, there's a difference in like confident in taking a fight and like you being confident walking into the enemy jungle while your mid laner is about to be in top lane and you don't see anyone on the map other than
there's confidence
the
and
enemy
stupidity. There's a fine line between both of them. One of the differentiating factor is usually information.
Yes, it is. But hey, also, I feel like both confidence and stupidity could be good in the right moments.
Hey, it's why RNG exists, not the team, the randomly numbered generation. You know, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you just get lucky. I don't think it's a great strategy to be relying on majority of your success within a competitive league on luck alone. But you know what? If you don't kick from the goal and get it, you know, you're never gonna know. If you miss all the shots, you don't take. So we'll see what shots RA can take in this next dragon fight. Minute 20 on that. And we're actually going to see 369 just stealing away the blue buff. And honestly, this has kind of been JDG's. They've just said consistently throughout this game, no one shall have this except for Leyan.
Yeah, and JDG still looking to play out through 2 lanes. They've done a pretty good job at staying grouped up as core. They already got their top wave sorted out. Have 369 push this wave in bot and try and fight for control. Try and fight for this contest over mid wave to push the enemy team out. Is once again Yagao hits good damage, forces out the Crescent Guard.
Yeah, and that's a minute now. You won't have that available to you for this next dragon fight. There's going to be a good Taliyah wall to kind of stop any... Actually, don't know what it stops, to be perfectly honest. But the rest of RA just back themselves away. And I think this is what you were talking about. The good Taliyah walls and the not-so-good Taliyah walls.
He's definitely had a few not-so-good ones this game. But at least for Yagao, everything else has been hitting spot on.
Oh, absolutely. The seismic shoves have been fantastic. Of course, the work ground has been doing work for them, as we can now see. Leyan, you don't have anywhere to go. And why he's getting caught out now. They have to go for the full fight. Stripe, though, gets on top of Missing, who goes down straight away in the start of this fight. So that's going to be a support for nothing. And now the Gwen is here. Massive Gnar ultimate to keep Hope alive for not just JDG, but for the AD carry as well. iBoy, though, with the range, should be able to do something. Yagao is a monster right now. Just about saves his life and saves the team fight.
I thought that was going to start off as a very funny pick with Kanavi committing so much to lock Leyan down. Hope Does he get it?
Oh, you don't know.
Oh, he doesn't!
He does
iBoy!
not. iBoy with the power spike of the 2-item Kalista comes out with a kill.
I mean, even being a component upright, having the Zeal over just was 2 items on Hope until this second. The 369,
Oh, no.
like this is what I said, right?
Ticking down.
The level of confidence. We'll say right now, JDG have the sauce. JDG are feeling it right now because anytime they see the opportunity, they just pull the trigger. That fight, I mean, a ton of kills traded over to both sides. Ultimately, it might be scrappy. Gold's still the same, but JDG are the ones picking up more objectives. And JDG, they don't know how to go backwards.
Oh,
they
cute.
only have
Forwards.
a forward movement key.
Only going forward at all time. Cube, where you gonna go, son? I'm gonna tell you where you're gonna go. Back to your fountain on a one-way express ticket to the gray screen. That is JDG getting more momentum. And like you said, the sauce is spicy right now, and JDG are loving it.
I gotta say, if JDG don't make it to being one of our world representatives, I will be slightly disappointed because I want to see all the other regions play against this. I want to see all the other regions play against
What are you
JDG.
gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Like, we say it all the time about like LPL teams, don't back down from fights and they want to take fights, but it feels like JDG just take that to another level. It really does
They
feel
really
like JDG
do. It's
are
like
just
always
willing
from
to
South
scrap.
Park. It's just like, I didn't hear no bell. You know, it's just constantly trying to fight you at all times.
Oh,
But
no.
again, if it does end up snowballing against you, like we talk about this so many times where objectives in the eyes of LPL teams aren't just towers or dragons or the Baron or anything like that. It's flashes, it's ultimates, it's small little things that you can build up for them. They see those small little increments as objectives themselves. So
Yes.
it just works out. They're kind of saying, look, this is good for us, not because we got a tower, but because we got them off the map and we staggered their recalls, even small things like that. And it's not going to stop here as 369 keeps going forward. Yuyanjia sitting over the side here. We can see the Weaver's Wall comes out to try and stop any kind of retreat. iBoy can't get over the wall. Leyan has to get himself disconnected from this fight completely. There's the hostile takeover as Cube has gone down. Now you can see with a 5v4, JDG, they just keep on trucking.
They just keep going. A mini Gnar is running you down again. What can you do? And now JDG, they're still looking for it. Kanavi.
Yeah, they're going to look for more and more. iBoy, though, he had used all of his skill in that last fight. He's still doing pretty well, but that's a poppy, and that's a wall, and you will fall down. That's going to be 15-5 in kills. And funny enough, the person this fight all started over was Leyan. He got out alive, but only to watch his base start to crumble around him.
Now JDG gonna pick up another turret, and they're finally gonna actually build a gold lead. Like 3 minutes ago, gold was exactly dead even. And over the course of these shenanigans for the past 3 minutes, JDG have been able to build up a 5,000 gold lead. We'll go straight into the replay here. See them going for the push in mid. And 369, I mean, half of your rage bar stacked up. Doesn't care. Goes in, looks for the damage, able to find a Gnar ultimate and get some solid damage down. On the back end, Strive lands a beautiful charm on Hope. Chunks him down low, but sadly isn't enough with the other members of JDG here. We see Missing able to land his ultimate and just make sure some of these kills come through. 369 is still going in the bottom left-hand corner of our screen.
9. That is the only number that this man knows, and he is just going to continue to be a thorn in the side. You talked about RA earlier. They do jiggle, and they also fold, because right now they are just being put away by JDG. And it's just 369, again, just finding time after time, just advantage of advantages.
I love 369 is built on ruthless aggression. If we said FPX is one of the most fun teams to watch in the LPL, I'm sorry. JDG has to take number one. Like, my God, they keep going. We get a wall that does actually do something, cuts Leyan off. I don't know if he would have been able to contest Baron regardless, right? But it does just give you the extra safety measure. No 369. Don't back off. Go in.
Yeah, there is no backing off. There is only forward in this game. But honestly, this game is just accelerated so far away from RA. It was like a drag race. They were keeping in tow. They had a little bit of early acceleration, a lighter car, slightly more horsepower in the engine. And then slowly but surely, the revs came in, the gears were shifted, and JDG started to smoke them across the track. And there's just nothing you can do here as RA. You need to hope that you catch somebody out, because even now on the top side, your Gwen has to run away.
Yeah, Cube has to be careful. 369 for now, just ignoring him, has the Baron buff. He's going to push us down, and look at the minimap. The other members of JDG are forcing into the mid lane. They don't really have to worry about the Dragon as much. They're already on soul point. RA are the team who have to respond.
Yeah, RA have to make something happen, otherwise they're going to lose too much. You can see Yuyanjia is trying to see if he can maybe find an angle here, but we're going to have the Keeper's Verdict not hit absolutely anybody, but they're going to stop Yuyanjia from getting his ultimate off, which means he goes straight into the Fate's Call. Cube has been killed before anything can really kick off. The Crescent Guard tried to knock people back into the turret, but Leyan has to get himself right out of this one here. Missing flashes forward. Handshake's the worst deal in RA's life, as iBoy now finds him isolated with a party of 4 people who want him dead. He's kiting very well, but it's just not going to be enough. The party's not for you, and you need to leave. JDG will break open the base, and they'll take this game.
JDG pushing to a win. It was close early. Leyan and RA made them work for it. But my God, JDG are bloodthirsty. JDG still showing us why they're a top team. And JDG are taking game 1.
Wow, from a slow, methodical, let's see what we can eke out in the early game, to that utter chaos. But it felt like
how are they so
chaos.
Calm? Yeah. How are they so calm looking, Ashin?
This is another day in the office. Another day in the office. But again, it was controlled chaos. Yes, it was fight after fight after fight. There was no break for RA, but it was all on JDG's terms.
Yeah, it was. It really was, right? We saw the advantage go to RA early on from the level 1, where they're able to blow all summoners from Hope. And then, like, after that, right, it becomes so telegraphed of what you're going to want to do, especially with having the Kalista Amumu, in terms of all-in on that bot side. It's like Kanavi can just match that, because Kanavi knows what you're looking to do, too. And I feel like Kanavi did a really great job of covering a lot of the ganks that Leyan was putting on both bot and top lane. So it kind of, like, stifled the momentum that RA was able to find. And we're still JDG having a slight gold lead for like a large part of the early game. And but it wasn't until that mid game, right, where JDG it felt like just kept punching a concrete wall and just saying like, no, at some point I will be able to break this. And actually they did. Their bloodied up knuckles did break down that wall that was
it's
RA.
Like you can see RA behind the wall. It's like, there's no way. And then all of a sudden you see like a crack and then a little bit more vibration. You're like, uh-oh.
Look,
they're breaking it.
Since I know you're a huge weeb, maybe you've seen this. I haven't. But it's like what that show Baki looks like to me, with all like, the big buff jack guys who just,
Absolutely.
That's
I
the
have watched
energy
Baki. I watched the original Baki and I've seen the Netflix version of it. Both are ridiculous and over the top, and I love them.
Exactly. That was JDG this game, though, right? That was the energy that JDG had.
Yeah, it really was. Honestly, I thought you were going to go with Attack on Titan, you know, breaking the walls. Anyway, but what was it? You went a little bit more obscure. But yeah, honestly, it just felt like it was just constant from JDG. And honestly, RA never got a chance to catch their breath. In just under 30 minutes, 369 was just constantly breathing down them. And yeah, that damage is absurd. Again, why we highlight this guy. You know, I see so many arguments about, you know, Gnar and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, like he's kind of like a little bit of a patch for your bad drafting, or maybe he's like a very safe pick, but you can really easily punish it. Not when he's playing like this. 369 is showing that this is a power pick for the side of JDG.
35% of your team's damage on a Gnar when you have a Taliyah and an Aphelios. So that is pretty crazy, especially right into the Gwen. It's like, sure, your range, like you do have like a small advantage in the matchup, but typically I feel like we see this go very 50-50. He almost even found the solo kill. Yeah. He was one auto away from getting it. And I don't know, 369, we highlighted him at the start of the day. Rolling 9s. We gave him his 1-3 in that series, and he delivered after that.
Yep, he really, really did. Well, we're going to set it to a quick break. When we return, we will see if 369 can still keep rolling 9s, or if RA have got anything to say about that first game. We'll be back with picks and bans right after this.